Alrighty, everyone. So today we're going to talk about some SolarWinds stuff, and they have a couple vulnerabilities with their Web Help Desk, and those CVEs are CVE 2024-28986 and 28987. So let's get started. Let's jump down this rabbit hole. Alrighty, so first I'm going to talk about the credits. This was a huge rabbit hole. I had to go through and read quite a bit of articles, and most of those were about CWEs, CVEs. I went to Cloudflare, Oracle for some clarification on some definitions, and then I actually read the dark reading articles on these vulnerabilities, and I went to the Horizon3.ai site because I believe that one of the discovery researchers was Zach Hanley, and that's the organization he came from. All right, so again, here's the summary. SolarWinds recently announced two vulnerabilities. These vulnerabilities already have patches available, so if you're using this product, please download those patches. And again, the CVEs are CVE 2024-28986 and CVE 2024-28987. Okay, and although we're going to discuss 28986, the focus is going to be on 28987. This is a hard-coded vulnerability and can allow for remote code execution and can compromise the Web Help Desk. CISA has confirmed that there have been active exploits of 28986. All right, so here's a table for the breakdown of the CVEs, the CWE, and the CVSS score. And so the 28986 is a Java deserialization issue, and we're going to go to this link in a little bit to discuss how that affects you. And basically what it is basically thinks, hey, you might have some untrusted data, and what happens when you have untrusted data? Something can go wrong. The score is 9.8, and then the one that I think that we'll probably focus on a little bit more is the hard-coded credentials and the disadvantages of having a vulnerability there. All right, so what is CNA? So I'm jumping into some of the terms in some of these articles. So what is CNA? It actually stands for CVE Numbering Authority. So this is an organization that volunteered to help with creating IDs to vulnerabilities and publishing records on it. And so coincidentally, SolarWinds is a CNA, numbering authority. Anyone in the organization can join the program from a variety of business sectors. There are minimal requirements, and like I said, there's no monetary fee or contract to sign, and it's based on volunteering and meeting some parameters. What is CVE? It's a common vulnerability enumeration. And so basically it's a database or list of vulnerabilities. It uses the CVSS for scoring, which is the severity score. The normal process of using the CVEs is evaluating the situation, adding it to the list, sharing it, and having it listed in the MITRE glossary. NIST NVD also participates in this, and they analyze and provide information as well. Keep in mind that as of today, or most recently, NVD is not current at this time. They're having some struggles. I think it's probably related to manpower, and they can't keep up with the demand. CVSS score, what is it? Is a common vulnerability scoring system. It's a rating system. It's from 0 to 10, so the higher it is, the more severe the incident is, and it does consider certain factors like how easy would it be to exploit, the impact that it would have on the system and probably the community, and whether authentication is required. So what is Java deserialization? So this is the one that is part of CVE 2024-28986, and basically a Java deserialization is the process of converting a serialized Java object into an object by reading it from a file or network. Java deserialization vulnerabilities are considered critical and can have a significant impact on a system. The example here is if an application accepts serialized objects, it's relatively easy to tamper with those values, which could create invalid objects and mess with the data's integrity, or even allow for arbitrary code execution. And so this is probably important for developers to understand these challenges and try to avoid them during the programming process. And what is a patch and a hotfix? So we mentioned earlier that SolarWinds had said that they already have patches available, and so basically this is an update released by the vendor to address the vulnerabilities or the software bugs, and then applying these patches is important to maintaining your security and the stability of the IT systems. What is RCE? It's the remote code execution. It's a type of security vulnerability, allows an attacker to execute code on a system from like a remote location. These can have big consequences, and it can give attackers control over your affected system, and the more that they can travel throughout your system, the more dangerous that gets. What is WHD? In some of the articles you'll see the acronym WHD. It stands for Web Help Desk, which is the SolarWinds name for the platform. And then so again, SolarWinds did say that they do have the updates available for this. They recommend that you upgrade to version 12.8.3 and apply the hotfix WHD 12.8.3 hotfix 2. And what is Web Help Desk? It's a ticketing management system that you can have on your servers. So what are the common mitigations for something like this? You can definitely want to patch like they already recommended. There's a hotfix and a patch available. Implement least privilege. So if someone does get into your system, not everyone has admin rights to everything, and not all systems have access to everything. The more successful you are at implementing least privilege, the less likely the bad guy is going to be able to get around into your systems, even if they get in your system. Strong passwords and multi-factor authentication that can help prevent automated systems and bad guys from trying to get in a little bit further. Email filtering and protections, these are just common things that you should do just in case. Web filtering, same thing. Access control lists, awareness training, not just for your end users, but for your technical team too. People forget to mention that. Technical team needs to know about all this stuff as well. And then CWE recommendations, which is what we're going to go back to in a bit. And in fact, I think that might be our next slide. All right, so here's the table that we talked about earlier. And so it talks about the CVE. It tells you about what type of vulnerability is. This table tells you the CWE, which is the weakness enumeration. So 502 is the deserialization of untrusted data. And then it gives you the CVSS score. And you can see both of these are 9 out of a scale of 10. So that's important to recognize. So if you have to prioritize patching and work for your team members that have to take care of this stuff, this is something that should be on top of the list. And okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am actually going to go to CWE 9798. And let's see what I'm sorry, I said CWE. Okay. All right, so here is a common weakness enumeration website. And so if you go up here, it's part of the MITRE stuff. And so cwe.mitre.org. And then as you go down the trail of the URL, you can see 798 right here. All right, and so I'm not going to go over everything, but this site is really good, and there's actually a link right here where if you're new to it or you don't know everything you think you need to know, you can click on this link and you can learn a lot more about this tool. All right, so CWE 798 is use of hard-coded credentials. And so basically that's saying is it's built into the hardware, so this makes it hard to, makes it easier for the attacker because it's set basically in stone. All right, so the description of this CWE is that the product contains hard-coded credentials like a password or a cryptographic key. The extended description is there are 2 main variations, inbound and outbound. And so this extended description tells you the difference between the inbound and the outbound. And so the inbound is the product contains an authentication mechanism that checks the input credentials against a hard-coded set of credentials. In this variant, a default administration account is created and a simple password is hard-coded into the product and associated with the account. So think about that. A simple password is hard-coded. So that's a couple things. One, if someone's familiar with this, if the password is a default, it could be common across all products and in this product or platform across the board. So it could be 1, 2, 3, 4 in everyone. Okay, this hard-coded password is the same for each installation of the product, and it usually cannot be changed or disabled by the system administrators without manually modifying the program or otherwise patching the product. So that's what we did. SolarWinds is offering the patch. It can also be difficult for the administrator to detect. Okay, so outbound, the product connects to another system or component and contains a hard-coded credentials for connecting to the component. This variant applies to front-end systems that authenticate with back-end services. The back-end service may require a fixed password that can be easily discovered. The programmer may simply hard-code those back-end credentials into the front end. So definitely not what you want to do with your products. It might be easy at the beginning, but once a couple bad guys know about it, you're in trouble. All right, so the common consequences here. So the common consequences for this is it affects access control, and it affects the CIA, the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. It affects access control, and then there's another. So we'll go through this one real quick. Access control. If hard-coded passwords are used, it's almost certain that malicious users will gain access to the account in question. So we already talked about that. Any user of the product that hard-codes passwords may be able to extract the password. Client-side systems with hard-coded passwords pose even more of a threat, since the extraction of a password from a binary is usually very simple. So then we're going to skip the next one because we're going to keep going down. And so now this one talks about relationships. How is it relevant to other ones? So this one is, you'll see the child of, the parent of, peer of, and we'll tell you what type. So if I slide over this, you can get more information. All right, and then it gives you an ID number. And then so the nature of is a child of an ID 344, use of invariant. So it shows you how everything can be connected. And then down here, relevant again to the view of software development. So this was research concepts, this was software development. And so you can see a lot of these. And so if you really like to dig into rabbit holes or go down them, this will keep you busy for quite a while. And so you constantly see more CWEs, so they're all together, so you can actually map these relationships. And then it says members of, so you see a lot of here. Vulnerability mapping notes, we were just talking about that. So taxonomy, same thing, mapping, content, history, and so this basically tells you some of the work that they've done on this particular one. And if you go down here, you can see that it was updated July 16, 2024. So there's a lot that goes on with this stuff. It definitely helps you learn a lot. You can keep drilling. It's important to learn stuff even when something doesn't make sense. It might be wise to keep digging and reading because sooner or later all this stuff will just come naturally and life will be good, and you will learn a lot about helping keep your organization safe, your personal well-being, your personal goods, your family stuff. The more you learn about cybersecurity, even though it sounds like it's a lot, the better off everyone is. So hope you have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye. See you later.